We have just under 20% of this game to go now. And since we have now done 14 events up to this point, or is it 15? I don't remember. Anyway, time now for us to do our next championship event, which will be the Monster Series. And because this is one of the eligible bikes I can use, and also because, well, I haven't officially ridden a Triumph for a while, I figured I might as well ride one now. Not since the challenge mode anyway. Yeah, let's use the Triumph, because I figured, why not? Because I mean, dude, look at this thing. Look at just how awesome this thing is. Okay, anyway. Let's now get on with the Monster Series, where I am using the RM Triumph Speed Triple. Okay, 16 events. Sorry, I'm still waking up because I'm now recording this on a Wednesday morning. Anyway. Time now for the Monster Series. So it's 5 races, and we get to pick between any one of these 18 bikes. For which I can say, with this list alone, in my opinion, that's a lot. Anyway, these are the tracks we are heading to. So, 5-lap champion, so it's a 5-race championship as we're heading to Tokyo Route 246, Seoul Central, which by the way is in South Korea, Suzuka Circuit, Apricot Hill, and Trial Mountain to send us off. And we are doing 5 laps around each of these. And I really wonder what my competition is going to be. Hopefully, it will not be too hard for me to get this one pulled off. But as ever, we will wait and see. Yeah, I think I should be okay with this. So we've got a Honda CB1300 Super 4, an MV Agusta Brutale 910, and a Suzuki GSX 1100S Katana. Yeah, I think this won't be too hard for me to potentially get the sweep here. At least I don't think it'll be too hard. In other words, I might have just made this easy, but either way, here we go. And already I am closing in on the Suzuki. I think this is going to be pretty easy from what I can see. I'm also pretty sure top speed is not going to be an issue here, so I'm pretty sure we'll be fine. I might also consider using the Honda CB1300 at some point. Well, one of them at least. But as to which one, I haven't decided yet. Anyway, we'll see how we go. Okay, doing well so far. And I'm now closing in on, I think that's the MV Agusta I'm closing in on, from what I can see. Yes, it is. And now, the only bike between me and the win is the Honda, who has a huge lead, and I need to slow way down. I went way too deep into the corner. I kind of knew that was going to happen. Oh well, it doesn't matter. I knew I was going to overshoot turn 1 at least once, because I haven't exactly ridden around Tokyo that much in this game compared to other tracks I've ridden around. With some tracks, it's pretty easy to know where the braking apex markers are, but when it comes to city tracks, that's a bit harder to know for sure, because you don't really know where those braking markers are positioned. But either way, it doesn't really matter, because, well, I'm still very much blowing away that deficit I had at the start of the lap. I have a feeling I'm going to take the lead pretty quickly, as long as I stay up on the bike. I can certainly say, compared to the Honda CB1300 Super 4, I am not going to be at the disadvantage. And blitzing my opponent from the inside, and getting on the brakes way earlier this time, making sure that I do hit the apex, and this time I get it right. I make sure to hit my marks, and I also know that because I am not at the disadvantage. And now I just have to stay out in front and pretty much just blow the doors off my competition. And 4 seconds is now the gap, so it's fair to say I clearly have the fastest bike here. That's pretty much indisputable at this stage. Because it seems like everything is going pretty well at this time. I would also estimate by the end of this thing, I'm probably going to be leading it by a long way. I just overshot it. Well, I almost made it, but I still had to overshoot the corner anyway. I gotta say, that Honda's actually pretty fast through the corners. He definitely seems to be faster than me when it comes to the cornering apexes. Although he may not have the advantage on the straight, he does seemingly have the stronger grip through the corners than what I seem to have. Because he actually pulled a few seconds back from me in that first sector. I almost went too deep into the corner. And in which case, if that did happen, then my head would be stuck in the fence, which means I would be dead. But either way, we're doing okay for now. And now, onto the main straight once again, and heading under a few sponsor boards whilst I'm at it. Now we begin the final lap of Race 1 in the Monster Series. Oh, yeah, okay. I still have not managed to get any better through my Turn 1 entry. Well, at least I can say the Honda isn't letting me get too far ahead at this point, which, in all honesty, surprises me. But I think it's fair to say at this stage, we're not doing too badly at the moment, because we're still leading the race. We've got a pretty sizable gap at the front, and we're pretty much just controlling this thing. I also gotta say, this bike is quite well balanced. And I overshoot the corner. Can I please stop hitting the pavement? It would be really nice if I could stop hitting the pavement. Anyways, through the last corner, and now onto the front stretch once again. And race 1 of the Monster Series is mine, as I would have expected. Easy win over the Honda CB1300 Super 4. Then the MV Augusta was 3rd and the Suzuki was 4th. So pretty much fun for all the family in terms of our countries as well as where the manufacturers are based. Because we have 2 Japanese bikes, 1 Italian bike and 1 British bike. Isn't that crazy? I think that's pretty crazy. But either way, it doesn't matter because I still won the first race with relative ease. So, yeah. Okay. Now we move on to Seoul Central. As we are now in the streets of South Korea. Let's see how we go. As we head round the roundabout to open up the lap. How easy do I think this win is going to be? I would say, as long as I don't crash too much, it'll be pretty easy. From what I can see. I also wish it was possible for me to reduce the horsepower output. Because I think in terms of power, I might be just a little bit overpowered. But either way, it's okay because I'm pretty convinced in saying this is not going to take me too long to set 5 laps around here. Because the first lap I set was a 1 minute 7.6. So just trying to bide my time here and pretty much take this thing as steady as she'll go, going around the outside, and now I just have to blitz the opposition. Went a little bit wide there through that left-hander, but able to course correct my position. And the gap is now 1.5 seconds to the Honda. And, oh, damn it. Okay, we're fine. Okay. I really thought for sure that was going to be a double whammy, but I held on. Anyway. There we go. And running wide again, but able to stay in control of the tyres as well as the brakes. I can certainly say the front straightaway does not feel as fast as some people think it does. I would honestly say the main straight in Tokyo is probably longer than the straight here. At least in terms of the speeds I was hitting. But anyway. I go and move on. And I overshoot the corner. Well, had to happen sooner or later. I'm strongly convinced in saying that Honda CB1300 is quicker than me through the corners. I'm pretty sure that's the only reason why he's been able to more or less keep up with me at this point. Although I have been winning these races, I've not been dominating these races. At least not by a long way anyway. I'll definitely give the Honda kudos for keeping up with me. Because he definitely seems to have strong tabs on where my pace is. And although I am pulling away on the straights, he's able to close in again through the corners, which, in all honesty, I would consider that to be a worthy challenger. Anyway, new best lap time and 2 races easily won by 3.613 seconds. And the MV Augusta also finished. The Suzuki, however, did not finish before the fade. Unfortunately. But either way, there we go. 2 race wins and an easy 20 points for me. Those are your standings after 2 races, where pretty much everyone is guaranteed to get points. I will also save the replay because why not? Alrighty. How long has it been since I last recorded this? So yesterday, when I was recording my previous episodes, the last time I actually played this was on November the 11th. So I think it's fair to say it was definitely 3+ weeks since I last played the game before yesterday. But either way, that's the way the cookie crumbles. So let's now get through race number 3. And where I'm pretty sure this is not going to give me too many problems. I know my way around Suzuka pretty well as we head through into the S-bands and going round the outside to clear the Suzuki. And now I have the MV Augusta right up ahead of me. I almost went too deep there into Dagna 1, but okay, a little bit squirrely there on the exit of Dagna 2, but trying to see if I can clear the MV Augusta cleanly. Probably didn't need to shift down to first there through the hairpin. I am of course trying to keep this as clean as possible. Push him a little bit wide there. It gives me a little bit of contact there for good measure. Figured I would just return him the favour by handing the position over again. Because I'm easily going to get him on the inside here. Exit of Spoon Corner. Now onto the Spoon Straight. And heading all the way up to 130R, hitting 180 as I get there. I do manage to make it through the corner, and now up to the chicanes. And I have to slow right the fuck down to get through the chicane. And the gap is now 5.9 seconds. To the Honda ahead of me. So, I think it's fair to say that the Honda does seem to have the advantage over me through the corners. That's why I believe the gap is as big as it is. Although the other reason for that as well, because I got held up by the MV, but that's okay, because there is still plenty of time for me to claw back the deficit. Oh, shit. Yep, I knew that was gonna happen. I was just waiting to see how long it was before the rear tyre hopped. And then once it did, that was pretty much what caused me to fall off. Although then again, these bikes are pretty heavy, so it certainly wouldn't be a gimme to simply just hold on to these bikes without expecting an accident of some sort. But either way, I digress. I'm still pretty much schmooving my way through this race as we go further and further along. Suzuka is of course a high-speed circuit, so you would expect me to catch up to my opponent on the straights, even though I'm not really doing a very good job of keeping on tabs with my opponent at the moment. I'm pretty sure he just completely cut the chicane there. I was pretty sure that's what he did there. Anyway, doesn't matter because I still take over the lead. I think it's fair to say the top speed I can hit on the front stretch is basically 179. Okay, have no idea why I let go of the throttle there, but doesn't matter because I am still ahead of my opponent. The only question I really have is, can it stay that way? Okay, not running wide through Dunlop. Also, giving myself a lift for good measure so I get through the corner. And now through Dagna 1, and heading into Dagna 2, and the rear tyre bounced again. Have no idea why it keeps doing that. I'm going to assume that must be some sort of brake lock that's causing the rear tyre to bounce all the time. Either that or it could just be the hydraulics in the suspension. That could also be the case. Me basically mistreating the brakes, and that's ultimately what's causing the hydraulic suspension to, in some cases, overreact. But it doesn't matter because I'm still very much ahead. And I am running way too wide. And as I would have expected, I wrecked myself coming out of Spoon Corner. And now the Honda is right behind me. Oh, please don't wreck. Okay. Oh, yep, and I get wrecked anyway. That was kind of on me. But then again, I did more or less give the Honda the running room. I just didn't think it was going to be that close to me. I think it's fair to say the corners are definitely helping the Honda to keep up with me. Because he seems to be with a bit more pace through the corners than what I seem to have. That's probably the main reason he's been keeping tabs with me up to this stage of the race. And the Suzuki is once again playing as the field filler. So heading through Dagna 1 and Dagna 2. And heading into the hairpin now on the penultimate lap. And I think this is going to be where I will start to set the benchmark pace. And make sure that the mistakes I made earlier on were not done in vain. Okay, let's actually set the pace now. Just to show how dominant my bike really is. Okay, didn't quite get it right through 130R, but Either way, I don't think it really matters because, well, in all honesty, I think the main thing I should just focus on right now is making sure that I just simply make a statement by setting a new best lap time. So heading through the S-curves now for the final time in this race. And now we must move on. So heading through Degner 1 and now into Degner 2. And under the Spoon Straight, as I've now passed Sector 1. And 7.5 seconds is now the interval to the Honda, so it's fair to say my benchmark pace is definitely helping me stretch my legs out front. And so far, so good. Okay. I've now driven 17 miles in this race, which means I would estimate by the time we get to the end of this race, it's probably going to be at least 18 miles the way I see things. Is what me thinks. And gotta get out of the throttle there on the exit, that's how you can stay on track. And through the final corner, and there we go. Just hitting 18 miles, and I set a new best lap time of a 2:18.5. And 8.3 seconds in the end over the Honda. Because I figured I had to make this a statement win. And that was what I did. So, once again, the field positions of the AI don't change, they very much remain the same. 30 points to me, 18 points to the Honda, 12 points to the MV, and 9 points to the Suzuki. 3 races down, 2 races to go. Let's now head on to Midfield Raceway, I think it is. Is that where we're heading next? Oh, Apricot Hill. Okay. I must be thinking of another championship. Yeah, it is Apricot Hill. My mistake. I think because these tracks are basically high-speed tracks, and also because they're relatively long, that's more or less the reason why, when it comes to the high-speed tracks, I've been winning these pretty easily. Because I seemingly have the most powerful bike, as well as also being pretty much the fastest bike as well in terms of top speed, because in Tokyo, I wasn't too far off hitting 200 miles per hour down the main straight in Tokyo, and I just managed to save it off the exit of that long sweeping left-hander, and now heading through the hairpin and heading through this complex section of corners and losing a ton of speed as a result of dipping my tyres into the gravel. I clear the MV from the inside, and I just managed to get it pulled back up again before the track surface pulled me down. And at the end of the first lap, I am 2.7 seconds behind the Honda, which means I will probably be maybe a few seconds ahead by the time I get to the end of the following lap, once I catch him. I have to pretty much lift more through the corners compared to the Honda. The Honda does seem to be faster than me through the corners, but on the straights, however, he's almost got no chance of catching me. Oh, I overshot, and I run into the back of him. That was entirely a mistake. That was not intentional. I'm also pretty sure that would never happen in real life without both of us wrecking. But again, this is a game, so from time to time, those sorts of things do happen. I'm also pretty sure if I didn't run into the back of him, I would have inevitably overshot the hairpin. And down the inside, hitting 180 as I cross into turn 1. No doubt in saying that was helped out, of course, by the draft of the Honda in front of me. And once again, it looks like it's going to be another relatively easy win from what I can see. Oh shit! Oh shit, shit, shit. Have no idea how I saved it. I was extremely lucky to stay on the bike. I basically had two moments that could have just as easily kicked me off, but somehow, some way, my vehicle control etiquette manages to keep me up on the saddle and helps me set a new best lap time in the process, just as I call it. And the gap is now 4 seconds to the Honda behind me. I'm also pretty sure if the BMW K1200R was in this race, well, in this championship I should say, he would have made this a lot more interesting, because I'm pretty sure the BMW would have been a lot closer to me in terms of pace, compared of course to the pace I've actually been setting here, which, in all honesty, has been dealing the AI some pretty crushing blows. As I get caught out by, I think that was a sand trap if I'm not mistaken, but I do manage to more or less keep myself out of there, but either way, that's now 4 laps done, and the gap is now, I think, 6, maybe 7 seconds. Yeah, 7 seconds. And we are very strung out here, as I would have expected. I'm also pretty sure that if we were a Totem Ring, then the gaps would be a bit smaller than what they actually are. But unfortunately, that is not the case. And 8.2 seconds is now the interval. And up to this point, I'd say we're doing okay. So heading through the chicane now for the final time. And I almost fell off the bike there. Gave it a little bit too much throttle there on the exit, but able to recover. And somehow, some way, I still set a new best lap time in the process. Took me 7 minutes and 28 seconds to get through that race. And I won in the end by 9.35 seconds over the Honda CB1300 Super 4. As everyone else, they weren't even close. But anyway, there we go. 40 points to me, 20 points to the 24 points to the Honda, 16 points to the MV, and 12 points to the Suzuki. Alright, final race of the Monster Series. And then we can move on to the Heavyweight Series. Here we go. I pretty much know what I have to do here. It's going to be a pretty easy job for me to get this one and done the way I see it, and I almost fall off the bike there, but able to stay in control of it, as I do so often. And so, we press ourselves forwards. So, 4.2 seconds is the interval to the Honda in front of me. Also getting a little bit of a bounce there. And had to downshift so I did not run into the back of the MV. And now heading through this hairpin turn, that's then quickly followed up by another hairpin turn right before we head into the chicane at the end. And now heading into the last kink. Had to lift for a moment there to prevent myself from falling. And got a downshift so I can correct my cornering apex. And so far, so good. And up to this point, we seem to be doing okay. 1.1 seconds to the bike behind me, which is of course the Honda. As I take over the lead midway through the second lap. So 3 seconds is now the gap. I only feel as though that is going to grow as we go further and further through the race. As I now set a new best lap time of a 1:35.18. And heading through the first tunnel now once again. And setting a sector split. And up to this point, we seem to be doing okay. And short shifting, so I can stay in control of the bike. And I stepped on the curb. And that was what caused me to slip. I was also surprised to say I did not fall off at Apricot Hill. I really thought for sure that was gonna happen to me. A few times, but somehow, some way, I stayed up on the bike. And I've fallen off again. Please don't make this one a third time. Whatever you do, please do not make this one a third time. I knew that was going to catch me out sooner or later. I kind of knew that because I was more or less riding over a crest, I kind of knew that since I was more or less riding over a crest on that backstretch, I was honestly anticipating that sooner or later it was inevitably going to catch me out. Because that's just what the bump was there for. But anyway. Final lap of the Monster Series. As I am now 5.4 seconds clear of the Honda CB1300. And as long as I can stay up on the bike here, we should be okay. .3 seconds is now the gap. And you know what I'm going to do this time? Yeah, basically I had to lift, so I could avoid having a similar catastrophe to what I had last time. Either way, I've had my fair share of mistakes, but it doesn't matter because I am still going to go on and win this race, as well as score the clean sweep and, of course, the championship. And I also set a new best lap time in the process. Cool. 8 minutes and 8 seconds is how long it took me to finish that race, and 8.8 seconds in the end over the Honda CB1300. The MV finished in third, and it was the Suzuki GSX 1100 Katana who came home fourth and last in all 5 races. 50 points to me, a perfect 50 I might add. 30 points to the Honda, 20 points to the MV, and 15 points to the Suzuki GSX 1100. Okay, we are done. And that, I can say altogether, was pretty easy. And I will check to see that we have a replay saved. I'm pretty sure we do, just figured I'd check to be sure. Yep. And now, we will move on to our prize car. Sorry, our prize bike from this event. I'm still pretty tired. So, first and foremost, we get another helmet. And for winning the championship, we get the Yoshimura Hayabusa X1. And no optional upgrade is available for this thing. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Figured I'd just give this thing an all-around look. The Yoshimura Hayabusa X1. And yes, I will put the number 1 on my Triumph to show who is the true number 1 bike of the Monster Series. Yeah! P1, baby! And next up will be the Heavyweight Series. So, another championship done, and all that took me was 53 minutes to get there. And where does that put us completion-wise? 83.6%, so we gained 3.2% as a result of winning the Monster Series. And so here it is, the Yoshimura Hayabusa X1. I gotta say, this thing looks pretty cool. And yes, this is also a street bike, as you can see there. I'm going to assume the N is short for normal bike as well. But anyway, there we go. So that is the bike we get. And as you can see here, 3.2% of progress. And we're now up to 237 bikes overall. And no gains on the Suzuka 8-hour bikes as of yet, but we will cross that bridge when we get to it. Anyway, that's another event done, and next time we will be doing the Heavyweight Series, coming up next.